Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bret from Angel Road Outdoors. Thought it was time for us to really start putting together some information or some video or some content as to how our 2021 season went. And since that was really the first year for Angel Road, um, fi- filming anything or bringing cameras into the woods, it was a learning experience and a struggle. And that's okay. I still had a great time. Um, but I also had to learn how to use some video editing software and all that fun stuff. But I think the time is now for this to finally come together. So, again, my name is Brett. I am one of four dudes that hunts in our group of friends and provides content for now. There's a few other folks who I think I'll probably try to get some content from later on this year for the 2022 season. And but for now, that remains to be seen. Um, I had I had a very interesting 2021. I bought a new bow. I started buying all of my camera equipment, and the Saturday before Easter, I was working around the house. We were replacing the boards on the deck around the pool, and I got hit in my dominant eye, so my right eye, by a small block of wood, um, direct hit right to the ball, and freaked me out. Like I thought my eye exploded. I instantly closed my eyes and dropped to my knees and was calling for help, but there was nobody there to help me. So anyway, I get in the house. I swear my eyeball has exploded. Excruciating pain. Go to the after hours clinic on the Saturday before Easter and find out that the eyeball is still intact. It had not popped. Scratched the cornea, but the eye was super full of blood and he couldn't figure out if there was any permanent damage. Come back on Monday, see a retina specialist. Retina's intact, should be fine, just going to take some time to heal. Go home, go about my day, go about my life. Somewhere around May, maybe even June, something happened to my eye, and I just attributed it to the healing process. And what had actually happened is the retina had detached completely, not completely, but from the bottom, it had come off, it had detached, and it was folded up. And I didn't go back to the doctor for 4 months because I thought it was just part of the healing process. That new blurriness. There was no pain, so I didn't think anything of it. I just went about my day and ended up being required to have undergo surgery. So I underwent surgery in late August, which didn't work. It caused it to tear again, and so I underwent an almost exact same surgery in late September, and our season starts October 1st. Um, and this time it worked, but part of that surgery required an oil bubble to be put into my eye. So again, it's now we're approaching October, and I cannot see out of my dominant eye. So I had sort of just resolved that I would hunt with my crossbow all year with my left eye because I could just put it up to my shoulder, use my scope, my eyeball, my left eye works fine. It would be different, but I would just hunt that way all year. And so I did. I hunted all of 2021, the 2021 season, left-handed with either my crossbow left-handed, my gun left-handed. I even ended up buying a compound bow, um, a left-handed compound bow, and learning to shoot it in my spare time because there's just something different about compound hunting compared to crossbow or gun or anything else. So it was a very strange season. I have had another surgery on my eye, and it's supposed to be the last one. I still can't see out of it because it's healing, but it should be the last one. I should be fine this year. I'll have to get a new prescription for my glasses. But the long story short is it should be the last surgery. I should be fine this year. But it's very uncomfortable. It's very disorienting. It's really frustrating. I cannot believe it's almost been a year of dealing with this. But Here we are. It's February 24th of 2022, and I'm finally making my first video. I didn't have tremendous success last year. I shot 2 deer. My son shot a deer in the youth hunt, and only one of my kills was caught on camera, and it was a bad shot. Again, I'm shooting left-handed out of a saddle. Um, no excuses. If I didn't feel like I could do it, I shouldn't have done it, right? But I did, and I ended up recovering that deer. It was just an over. I had to come back in the morning. So, you know, another part of the reason that I'm just now getting to this is the other guys didn't really film anything either. So, I bought everybody cameras and arms, and they bought arms and cards, and we talked about it and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And I think being that it's such a learning curve, it was just not something on everybody's mind. Everybody shot bucks this year but me. And I'm not saying that as though I'm upset about it. It just, they all shot big bucks and nobody caught it on camera. So that's something I'd really like to work on this year, is making sure that we are recording and getting those kills, or at least those hunts or those films recorded, so that I could put out continuous content that's enjoyable and entertaining and on brand. And so part of our brand is that we're kind of a little squirrely. So we're also going to be a little more raw. Like, I'm in my basement and you may hear one of my children scream or yell at the other one, or my wife yell at the kids, or someone play the piano, or the dog bark. But like, not going to be super polished. It's not going to be in a studio. I'm doing my best here with what we've got. So, that's just kind of the way it is. We didn't get a lot of film last year. I have a ton of film, but I don't have a ton of great film. I don't have any good kills. I don't have any. I got a lot of little bucks. I got a bunch of does. I got a lot of fawns. I've got some beautiful tree action, some water, some wind, some rain, some squirrels. I got a possum. I got a possum late season on camera. That's tremendous. Very exciting stuff. But I don't have the money shot, the thing that everybody wants to see, and that's okay. It'll come with time, because it was really important to me that I recorded this year as much as possible. And so I'll do my best this year to really get on a buck or two, and make sure that I record it. So, my season started in September with my son, who was 7, completed the Michigan Hunter Safety course and got his certificate, and participated in the Michigan Youth Hunt, which takes place in mid to late September. And we hunted here by my house in Clarkston. There's a gentleman up the road who's got a bunch of land, and he's gracious enough to let us hunt it. And I'm really the only one who hunts it really hard. And there's a bunch of neighboring parcels that everybody hunts right on his property line. So it's a little frustrating at times. And I can't seem to pattern the deer out there. But nonetheless, early season, the deer aren't getting any pressure. Got a bunch of great bucks on camera for him to shoot. He's super excited about it. And of course, we go out and see nothing. It's hot, like mid to upper 80s, humid. Mosquitoes are crazy. This kid's never sat still for longer than 5 minutes. And a typical kid. But we get in my ground blind. I've got 4 shooter bucks, 2 of which I would probably shoot the night before opening day for the youth season, and then we end up seeing nothing. And it was hard for him, getting up really early and sitting still for so long. But he stuck with it. He practiced all year with my crossbow. He's not strong enough to pull a compound bow yet. A bow back yet, but hopefully this year we'll get him on one. So anyway, he is ready to go. I mean, he sits with me all morning, few hours in the morning, come back, few hours in the evening. And the only deer I saw that day, he had ended up bringing a book to read, and so I did see a buck cruising 60 yards east of where we were sitting, and couldn't get it to come in, couldn't get it to stop. Wouldn't have had a shot anyway. And then we hunted the next morning, and the next evening we hunted again in a different spot where I suspected the deer had come from the night before.
Seriously.
And so we tracked, there's an unmistakable sound when an arrow hits a deer. And I knew that he had hit that deer. And so we waited a few minutes and got out since it was so dark. Um, my lighted knock never went off, which is super frustrating. Went over to where the deer was standing, found blood, tracked blood. Rain was coming, very frustrating. Rain was coming. We tracked blood. The wind was picking up. He was sort of freaked out because it was dark and pitch black, and he had never done anything like that before. So we tracked for about an hour, and then I began to start walking in circles. And without another person there who's ever tracked a deer, I was starting to get a little uncomfortable and frustrated. So I decided we would leave and I would come back the next morning and hunt myself. And after I was done, I got up, picked up Last Blood, found his deer, brought it home, and he was very excited. Um, but he wouldn't touch it. Like I wanted to take a picture of him with his first deer ever, and he would not touch it. So anyway, my son, my 7-year-old son, shot his first deer last year, and he was really excited. And hopefully, this is the start of something super awesome that he and I can do together as a father-son team for the rest of our lives. But it was really great, and I look forward to doing that again with him every year. The next, after that, I sort of have been going down to our private land property where the big bucks are down in Hillsdale County, and hunt pretty hard all year, as many weekends as I can get down there, which is pretty much every single one, and as many weekdays as I can sneak away. I try to do that, and this year was interesting. We had a lot of storms that changed the topography and the trail, the frequented travel corridors of the deer that we had historic information on. So a lot of the stuff had changed. It was very wet, which was causing deer to kind of skirt one way or the other around some really previously productive stands, permanent sets. And one of my favorite stands, the top of the tree snapped off from some straight line winds immediately where my head is. So I was pretty much the ornament on that pine tree. Um, Ended up still being a pretty good spot. The deer did move through there a lot. I just did not like being wide open like that at the top of the tree. So I pretty much exclusively saddle hunted this year, which was new for me, but I loved it. Again, being hunting left-handed for the first time ever out of a saddle was really strange. I had a lot of offhand activity, which is something that I'm going to have to really practice a lot this summer. Is how to effectively or efficiently and quietly get to my offhand to take some of those strange position shots instead of everything being on my strong hand. So I had a lot of doe activity this year, a lot of fawn activity, a lot of 1-year-old bucks. I don't even think I saw. I don't think I saw any 3-year-old bucks this year. Um, I passed on some does, which was foolish. Um, in hindsight, I can say that. Um, I saw one really big six. It was Postal's big six that was running around out there, and he was a shooter. He was for sure three, uh, and he came in on the offhand again, and I just couldn't move, and he busted me and never saw him again. I think the neighbors ended up taking him during gun season, which is super frustrating. Had some bucks come in and stop just shy based on who knows what, and then take off the other way. So I just had a lot of. I had a couple good encounters with some nice deer. I wouldn't say that they were necessarily mature deer. Couple mature does. Again, I'm pretty frustrated that I passed on some does this year, considering I didn't get enough meat to fill the freezer. But I have this. I have a video here that will show of my first deer kill this year out of my saddle on the offhand, on my weak hand. I passed on this doe the night before in a perfectly simple shot out in the middle of the field, and I don't know why I passed. I really don't know why I passed on her, but she came back the second night, um, which you'll see. I also shot a doe this year with my 450. So it's a really strange year for me, and I think it all sort of boils down to the fact that I was forcing myself to hunt left-handed, but I couldn't for the life of me imagine not being able to hunt last year. It's the single thing that I love to do more than anything is being outside and being in the woods and hunting and chasing these amazing animals, and the thought that I wouldn't be able to do that bothered me a lot, and so I sort of forced it. And I think maybe deep down I passed on a lot of deer this year because I was uncomfortable or felt unprepared, or was lacking the confidence to take certain deer. And unfortunately, I passed on them in scenarios where I probably had a cleaner shot, and then ended up forcing shots later when I got anxious, and that bothers me. And I hope to not do that this year. If my eye doesn't get fixed and I end up shooting left-handed, I'll be shooting left-handed all summer, and it won't be a rush. I won't be forced. I'll feel more comfortable. But that's sort of my situation for the year. Those were the two deer I shot. My son shot a deer. Everybody else shot deer this year in the group, and hopefully we can get some videos of them and their season recap later. Um, I did. I hunted all. So in my county where I live, we have an extended urban archery season that goes all the way through January. Even though I live kind of in the country, it's still in the county that has this urban deer management. You can hunt any deer with a legal tag all the way through January. So I hunted my butt off all January, as much as possible. Saddle, permanent sets. I even went once. I even hunted once or twice in state land. I investigated some state land. Didn't like it. Too many people. So I passed. It was just too cold for me to really get that investigated with it. Um, didn't end up shooting anything. All I could get in front of in late season were some does, and not even some does, fawns, and some 1-year-old bucks. Just wasn't going to do it. So I told myself I was only going to shoot a mature doe or a monster if he walked out, and so it just didn't happen. And so, I mean, I hunted a lot this year and just really struggled, but that's okay. It's part of it. They call it hunting, not killing, and hopefully this year 2022 will be more successful as far as video is concerned and content, and hopefully I can get on some big bucks this year. I've already been out once shed hunting, didn't have any luck, but I saw a lot of great sign, have some great ideas as to where I'll move some stands this year. Probably be knocking on some doors trying to get permission to hunt some new properties, and that's pretty much all I got for myself personally. So hopefully you enjoyed my season recap. It was a struggle. I feel like I heard a lot of people say their seasons were a struggle this year, but I know mine was, and I just hope 2022 is a little bit better. So everybody have a great rest of your day, night, morning, whatever it is, and thanks for watching. See ya.